Hi, all. I welcome you to the Building Culture podcast where I invite incredibly smart people who build things. Whether they be engineers, entrepreneurs, programmers, hobbyists, or researchers, it does not matter. As long as you're someone who's passionate about building things, I'll find you and podcast you. Hi, all. I want to take a brief moment to thank you all personally for supporting this podcast on YouTube and on all major podcast platforms, including Google Podcasts and Spotify. The podcast mainly features interesting people in robotics, artificial intelligence, and entrepreneurship. If you believe that the information that I'm providing might be of benefit to you or to someone you know, it would be really great if you could hit the subscribe button and press the notification icon so that you can get notified on time whenever the next part is out. It would literally take you a second or two to subscribe to the podcast, but it would really mean a lot to me because I can grow the podcast to a level where I can reach more people, invite ever more interesting guests, and have a more meaningful impact. So let's begin now. In today's episode, we have with us the manager digital business at Yen Optic. He is responsible for program management of several digital products and services as part of digital transformation portfolio. He is incredibly passionate about artificial intelligence and has been associated with artificial intelligence for visual inspection, in particular utilization of computer vision and deep learning for quality inspection and other applications of computer vision for over 8 years. He's someone who possesses an insatiable curiosity and passion for learning and growing, not just in the field of computer vision and deep learning, but overall as a person. One of his core philosophies is continuously learning and improving oneself and helping others along the way. In this episode, we talk about the personal journey from how he got started in computer vision to his current role, what are the professional aspects of the work involved, and also his personal motivations, inspirations, and philosophies towards continuous learning and improving. It was truly a pleasure talking to this person and getting to understand the wonderful ideas that he shared. Let's welcome Subhasis Pradhan. So, first of all, thanks a lot, Shubhashish, for joining this podcast. I'm pretty excited to talk to you. The very first question that I want to ask you is what was your first association with artificial intelligence or computer vision, and how did you get introduced to this?
My first time when I got introduced was in 2009 in the TED conference, which was held in India in the Mysore campus of Infosys. So I was working there as a corporate trainer, and that year the TED Global Conference was organized in Mysore, and I got to attend this one. And there was a speaker called Pranav Mistry from MIT who came to deliver a lecture on his sixth sense device research. And that was the first time when I really saw the fascination of computer vision and, of course, machine learning. Uh, AI is just right now building up on the machine learning things. So, as I said, that's where really I got to see first computer vision and AI application like live to see how digital and physical worlds are interacting together using those technologies.
Okay, so you attended that event, and after that, you got inspired. You saw
Uh,
that yeah, there are so many interesting possibilities with this technology. And
exactly.
so, what was your first step that you took professionally? How did you get started with computer vision? Because at that point, I don't know which year it was when you attended that event, but probably at that time, computer vision was still growing, right? It was.
Yeah.
At an early stage.
Yeah. So yeah, that was like first motivation for me, and then I got to see more in the direction of computer vision, what has been done. Like, for example, gesture-based actions. Like, for example, if you want to pause a video, you just do like this, and so sort of
Mm.
finger tracking, hand tracking, and all those things were like very beginning stage, and they were using OpenCV 1.0 that time, and that belonged actually to Intel that time.
Oh.
And so OpenCV was actually initiated by Intel. So and then I got to also being inspired by the DARPA challenge for the autonomous driving thing.
Mm.
That really, that's where the Stanley robot was like introduced by Stanford. And so I really saw there are different potential opportunities coming in the future if I'm going in that direction for computer vision. So my main entrance was computer vision. So machine learning is actually used in this field, but I was more inspired by computer vision. Yeah,
Mm.
and also robotics. So of course, um, robotics is more or less like automation of things. And then I got to see like how machine learning is used inside computer vision, and got more and more into it. But my
Mm.
primary motivation was computer vision. So first I started with this thing about Pradhan mystery. Then I really looked about this autonomous driving challenges. And
Mm.
then I started looking like, okay, what are the opportunities abroad outside India? I was looking some US universities, and also because of autonomous driving, and looking more into automotive, I also got interested in Germany. So
Mm.
because of education quality, and also like the cost of education, that was one of the main factors also.
Mm.
And I of course went to appear for GRE and TOEFL, and then applied to universities, and then got admission. I applied like 6 universities in Germany, and so got admission into 5 of them. And I took up Stuttgart. So I left Infosys and joined here in 2010.
Mm. So, you decided that computer vision is probably the right field for you, and you want to work in that area. And probably there were not many opportunities in India. I think in the field of computer vision, probably there's still there are startups that are coming up with new products there, but there's still more that could be done. So you decided that you want to do a master's in this field, in this area, and then you decided that Germany is probably a good option for me.
Yeah,
And sure.
2009, I think there was nothing actually open in India. Even it was like, I think
Okay.
in India, computer vision courses and specific AI courses started maybe in 2017 or 16. That time,
Mm.
really, they started. But 2009, I think it was not a specialization that you can do anywhere. So, of course, digital image processing and speech processing were part of masters and bachelors, like signal processing, but specifically focusing on computer vision and AI, that was not really something in India at that time. And
It's still very
still,
less, right?
that's very less. Even now, I think it's also few universities in India are offering that. Um, but yeah, that time the opportunities were less. And then it's not about the education, it's also about exposure. If you come to Germany as a student, you can
Mm.
understand that if you work here, you get exposure to work with Daimler, you exposure to work with BMW or Porsche, Audi, and so you really get chance to work even Continental, Bosch. They are like tier one suppliers, and then you can really get exposed to the field you work. So you're not just getting theoretical, but you also get practical experience and see how those technologies are used in the products. And
Mm.
that was actually for me very important factor why I came to Germany, to get a more industry exposure, not just really
Yeah.
theoretical studies.
So seeing how these amazing technologies are being used in industries was also one of the
Exactly.
major factors. Yeah. Um, could you give a brief overview of all the experiences that you have had so far?
Yes, so I think I started like computer vision work in the university first in the master's. So I did like one like work in a seminar where I
Okay.
worked on semantic segmentations. That was my first real work in computer vision. And
Mm-hmm.
then I started also working together with a professor with a project. It was called multimodal emotion recognition. So basically, you take input from audio and video, and then you recognize if the person is happy, sad, and what is the emotion of the person. So This was a research project which could be like used in television, smart TVs. The TVs recognize you and talk to you,
Okay.
similar to Alexa, but much more. So even that thing is today not a reality still,
Mm-hmm.
but that was something I started working. And then my first industry work happened with Bosch, Robot Bosch, in the corporate research group in Hildesheim. And I was working with mobile robotics. It was actually in 2012 when they were like developing robots for use in hospitals. Uh,
Mm.
so the robots can navigate in the hospital and bring things to the patients in their beds. So you can just tell the room number and put a plate and put the food. Robot can go to the room autonomously, even using elevator and all that. So my job there was more like working on the feature detection. That time, the shift
Yeah.
and surf and all those high risk point corner detectors and all. So these were like the first work in industry I started. Then I worked at Bosch, continued another project which was like autonomous parking systems.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was working on 360-degree view, surround view development. Today it's a standard thing. You can buy almost every premium car that when you sit in the car, you can see a top view where you can see the surround 360-degree view around the car with 4 cameras. And
Mm.
this project is where I got my exposure in 2012 and 13. And
Okay.
was yeah, and then I worked with university after my master's for a project called Robo Earth. It was a European Union funded project. My task was to to really see how robots in the world can communicate with each other. What is the language they will communicate? So and
Mm.
how they can transfer knowledge from each other. So this was the project. It was based on my thesis. My thesis I worked on mobile robotics to do person follow and tracking. So basically, it was a project for a company in Stuttgart called Faro,
Okay.
and so Faro Robotics tried the main product is to do 3D scanning of internal maps, like in inside like
Indoor environments.
indoor mapping, yeah. So but they wanted robot to do the indoor mapping instead of human really moving with the camera. So
Mm.
what the idea is, you just move around and the robot will have the camera mounted, and they will follow you at the same time they're building the indoor mapping.
Ah, okay,
That
okay.
was the project I did my thesis, and then I got the job at university to continue, and then I was also funded by the Robo Earth project for the PhD. But then I discontinued this thing research work because I got some industry opportunity to work with Yenoptic, and I
Mm.
joined as a software developer, product developer for um, quality assurance in automotive domain, so mostly manufacturing. So I have been working in this domain for almost like um, 8 years, and now it's a different role, which where I'm doing more like a program manager job for digital transformation. So it has
Okay.
gone way ahead than just working with computer vision AI. Now I've got more responsibility to work more towards clouds and
Okay.
digital transformation.
Digital project products in general.
Digital, yeah, digital. So my goal would be like uh, to see what kind of digital business models can be developed, and also how our products can be improved, including using the edge or leveraging using digital transformation technologies like mostly cloud based.
Mm.
So
Mm.
that's the role. Of course, AI is
Okay.
available in cloud, storage is available in cloud, processing is available in cloud. So everything is today much cheaper, and you can actually make better business model based on the data you generate from your machines. That's one other thing.
Mm.
So yeah, that's my role right now. It's not really specific to computer vision. It's more data and digital tools.
Okay. Yeah, that's an interesting journey, right? So you started with just getting inspired from the events that you attended and realizing the potential of the technology, and then you did your masters. You got industrial experiences after that. You also tried out research work there with your master's thesis, and also with the PhD position that you took temporarily, and then after that you're now working at Gen Optic and using computer. so you did use computer vision for optical products in the future, and now digital products, managing digital products overall. So how has your evolution been over the past 8 to 10 years, so to say?
The best thing is that I was very lucky because I think in 8.5 years, I've worked closely with almost all aspects of business. So starting from development to
Mm.
sales to service to application, uh, project management, product management, and now I'm into program management. So the best thing is I really got an opportunity to work together very closely and work also as a part of the teams in different roles.
Mhm.
So it gave me an exposure to see and understand business at a very higher level. So to see how
Okay.
we really make great products and what makes our customer happy. So that's something, the best thing I've learned in those 8 years in a company, in a
Mhm.
German company, even though I can say language is a challenge if you come from another country, and mostly traditional companies, language is a little bit barrier, but I really have been very successful even though in this environment, and I think Yanoptic has constantly given me a lot of opportunities to progress in
Okay.
career.
Yeah. So I'm curious about how you got interested in the digital products and the business side of things, because you started with a strong interest in computer vision technology, right? So at
Yeah.
what point, or of course, it was probably a slow transition as you gathered more and more experience, but how did that transition come into play?
So as I said, so my transition did not happen from computer vision to non-computer vision. I actually transitioned more from technological to business side thinking.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that was my transition. So even now, because I'm working with a photonics company, so I'm connected in anyhow in optics and computer vision. So that's
yeah.
something I will be connected with multiple products and businesses we have. So most of our portfolio is, you see, photonics or optic based.
Mm.
But the main thing, the transition which happened was more from thinking that, okay, develop great technologies to develop products with great value. So the
Okay.
movement happened from technology to value creation. And the value creation is where you get successful as a business. You don't really become successful because you have great technology. You become successful because you create value for your customers. And that thinking or that understanding is what I learned in this transition in those 8.5 years at Canoptic.
Okay, that's interesting. So, as you worked with this technology, you realized that value creation is probably more important, and technology assists in providing value to the customers. So, it eventually you are associated with computer vision in any way. So, it's just at which level you are contributing.
Yeah.
That's the point.
So I'm not really going at a very low level to write some code or
Yeah.
design a product or something right now, but I'm at a level where I can lead and help the company to create products using all those technologies, using all our great resources at the company. But then the point to connect the gap between customer requirement and our offering. That is exactly what is the main expectation from me in this role. So how can I really use all my experiences working very closely with customers in those 8.5 years, because I've worked with almost every major car company in the world. So
Mm.
that has given me a lot of opportunity to understand how manufacturing works and how you really make a customer happy. So that experience I have connected now in the new role to see what kind of like customer requirements can be picked by us, and then we develop and invest money into those requirements, because
Mm.
every company has a limited budget and like like money which they invest for R&D or research or product development. And the lucky companies are those which really invest in something that really becomes successful, and they need people who really understand what is the best thing where we can invest. So
Mm.
of course my job would be more like proposing different ideas and different like investment strategies or like business models, and then we have different executive management who would take decisions and say, okay, let's invest on that. So I am
Okay.
helping in the decision making at a very senior management level. That's like
Okay.
really my primary job.
Yeah, because now you understand things from like a top level perspective, so you understand having worked at different positions. So
Exactly.
so also, can you now briefly tell us about Gen Optic, what its products are, what this company is about?
So Jenoptik is basically a photonics driven company. What it means, it to talk more about the history, actually, it is actually somehow connected with Zeiss. So Carl Zeiss
Yeah.
AG. So Zeiss was actually started in Jena, and then I think in some point during the second half of 20th century, so before 2000 or 1900, so some second part, Zeiss actually moved a lot of his business to the west of Germany, so east and west. So they were before based on east, and of course Germany they had this division, and then
Mm.
business started moving from east to west. So when they did that, that time there were a lot of like rest of the Zeiss work was left in Jenoptik, in the east of Germany, in
Mm.
Jena. This is actually where Zeiss started, and then
Okay.
Jenoptik started from those small amount of division which was left, and then they built on top of it. So Jenoptik itself is a holding company right now. So holding company, they own different businesses,
Okay.
and they try their best that the businesses are connected to the vision and mission of the company, like which is
Mm.
like, okay, creating value using photonics technologies. And they have different product offerings or segments. For example, they have products in the division of manufacturing and automation. They have products in the field of traffic security and civil security, like, if you go to driving cars, you have the speed cameras
Mm.
and you have traffic monitoring. So Jenoptik provides products in that direction. So if we go to automotive, we have quality assurance products like in metrology. We have products in the automation division where we are like complete production line we are building. Like for example, if you're assembling a complete aircraft, you need a whole production line to assemble that thing. So your Optic automation team provides the complete assembly line. They produce it. That's one of the things. The other thing is you need, like for example, for processing in the production line, you laser cutting, welding, and different kind of laser processes. So
Mm.
your Optic also has products which are doing laser processing. So this
Okay.
is two areas. The third area is Jenoptik provides optical OEM components. For example, uh, so cameras, infrared cameras, also optical lens. So Jenoptik actually provided lens for the rover which was used for Mars mission this
Okay.
last year. So we had this perception which went to Mars. So Jenoptik had 6 of those lenses
Oh.
which were mounted on the robot. So that's really a great achievement for the company. Yeah,
Mm.
so Jenoptik has a different portfolio, but at the same time, they are a holding company as AG. So they own those companies and try to see that they all those companies are driving in the same direction, which is the main goal of the concern or the organization in the whole. Exactly.
Okay. Okay. So it is responsible for giving direction to all of these different areas in a way.
Exactly, yeah. So we have like centralized team in Jena, the headquarters, where we have the centralized functions like HR, IT, and finance, and of course the CEO and CFO. They're also located legal team, compliance. They're all located in like the
Mm.
headquarters in Jena. But then the companies are all located worldwide at different locations in Germany and outside Germany. But they all are guided by the same goals and same like expectations which the corporate headquarter has. Corporate headquarters
Okay.
supports them, but they have their own expectations from each business unit which they follow. So exactly,
Okay.
that's how it
Mm.
works.
And about your role at Yen Optic, basically, can you tell us about how your role was when you first joined the company and how it evolved to what you are responsible for currently?
Yeah, so when I joined, I was like a product developer. So I was really writing computer code for digital image processing,
Mm.
and that's really where I began. And then I started working together closely with technical sales to support them to see how we can like do applications for our customer requirements. So customer will
Okay.
always tell, okay, this is something I want to measure or inspect, and they will send our parts, and then we have to do internal application inside the company. So application Engineering basically means doing a feasibility study for the customer and tell them that, okay, this is your requirement and this is what we can fulfill. Are you okay with it? Or
Mm.
and then of course it goes to the next level. Sales will negotiate and say, okay, this is what the product pricing for them. And then if it's going ahead successfully, then we're building those machines. So I was involved first in development, then I went to sales, and then sales support, and then I worked sometime also as an application support. Then I also supported service, and then I finally, when I got understood all those things, I was offered to work as a product manager. Product
Okay.
manager is more like you also define product strategies, product roadmaps, and then I got an opportunity now to work as more or less like a program manager, where I will handle multiple projects in different types of business. So I'll handle project in digital uh, products or digital services, which could be from manufacturing, from traffic security, or even could be in the direction of OEM products. So these are
Mm.
all different areas. So I am an employee of the headquarter, and where I will support different businesses at different countries and locations worldwide. Yeah,
Mm.
so that's how I have shifted from development to management.
Okay, so because of now I can see how your evolution gradually happened to the position that you are now in, because you started as a developer, but then you also got exposure to the sales area and the more business side of things. And so you understand things from all of these perspectives, and which you can now, use it in your current role now.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey guys, I really hope that you enjoyed this particular conversation and it helped you in some way, shape, or form. If it did, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification icon or the bell icon so that you can get notified on time whenever the next part is out. Also, it would be really great if you could give me your feedback in the comments below. That would really help me improve. I'm uploading small clips of the long podcasts on a regular basis on platforms like LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. So make sure to follow me on these platforms if you're someone who cannot take out time for the long episodes. The podcasts are also available on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify and Google Podcasts.